I'm Scott.
And I'm Michele, and we are the owners of the Main Street Mouse.
And this is the Main Street Mouse Weekly Podcast, show number 157 for August 19th, 2024.
For your safety, remain seated with the doors closed, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside while the tram is moving. And supervise your children.
Welcome, foolish mortals, to the Haunted Mansion.
'Cause this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness!
Soar into tower. We are ready for takeoff.
Dead men tell no tale.
I know not who you are, nor how I came to find you. But may I just say, Aye.
Come on, everybody. Here we go.
Hello, everybody. We are back on Monday.
Yeah, happy Monday. Last week we talked to you guys on Wednesday because we were traveling on Monday.
That's right. And Tuesday we were too tired to record.
Yeah, so our little bonus podcast last week was Wednesday because it was, as you know, if you listened to it last week, it was a whole lot of stuff going on.
And if you didn't listen to it, I really encourage you to go back and listen to it because we really broke down what D23 brought.
Yeah, our podcast actually went overtime last week because we had so much to tell everyone about. It just, an hour wasn't enough. And then this week, we don't even know if we can fill an hour because we haven't done much.
No, we haven't done much, but I think we can. I think we can get the hour in. I don't think it'll be that hard of a thing because sometimes we hit one topic and we can talk for.
I don't know what you mean.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't know what you mean.
Sidebar. So we don't really have a lot to talk to you guys about this week, but we're going to try to make it the best show we can as always. So we thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to our little Hot Mess Express show here.
That's right.
So let's kick it off here with Adventures in Florida Living. So what we've been up to last week, and like Michele said, we really haven't done a lot. We got back from California on Tuesday morning, and we were both so exhausted. We didn't feel good. I still don't feel good at all.
No, and I don't know what it is because, we had said last week that all that walking and all that work was really taxing as far as on our bodies, and I still feel that way. We actually left the house last weekend, and I walked around just fine, but I'm still like all out of sorts, and it's been a week, so I have no idea why I still feel the way I do.
Yeah, I still feel like I have some kind of cold or something like that. My head's still all congested, my throat still hurts, my body's a little achy, so it's like, come on, just heal already. Let's move on. I'm tired of this.
Who would have known taking a work trip like that would like wreak so much havoc?
See, when you don't include vacation on your work trip, this is what happens.
We didn't have any downtime. It was like coming right back to work, and yeah, it's just so strange, and it's weird because we got home. Well, it'll be a week ago tomorrow. And that trip seems far away now.
It does. I thought about that yesterday. I was like, because last night we were sitting there in the living room and you were watching your show, and I sat there to myself. I go, last week at this time we were walking the convention floor. And we were trying to figure out what we were going to do for dinner at Disney. I mean, with all these thoughts of what we did last week.
Yeah, it was
in
just
California.
Last week.
It was just a week ago. And it seems like it was like 2 months ago, not a week ago. So it's kind of crazy.
It is crazy. I mean, and I really appreciated the whole trip and everything we got to do, even though it was very tiring.
Right.
But I would like to actually go someplace and enjoy vacation sometime.
What?
I know. Every time we travel somewhere, it's always for a purpose.
And I've been telling you that for years.
I know.
I want to take a vacation, not one that involves anything Disney, not one that involves not anything that involves going home for family functions in Michigan, an actual vacation where we get to go do stuff that's fun and sightseeing and actually enjoy things.
And that's the thing. So sidebar, you were right.
I knew.
Here's the thing. So when we lived in Michigan, there was like no question as far as like we're going to pick a vacation, and if we had the means, we were going to definitely go to Florida.
Right.
Well, now we live where vacation is. And now vacation is like going to, or, another destination going to Disneyland,
Right.
I mean, we did go out there for just for funsies one time.
One time out of the, 4 times we've been out, 4 or 5 times we've been there, wasn't one for funsies.
Yeah. So one time,
and that was
ago.
And that was also when we saw Avengers Campus for the first time. So
right. We went out there to check out Avengers Campus, but we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, we did. We had a lot of fun.
But now it's like when you're a Disney fan, I think I wrote about this years ago too. You get you get tunnel vision, I guess you can almost say, because you're so used to just planning Disney, and then you feel like if you plan something else, then you're like missing out on something Disney, and this is how we always felt, at least I did. But now it's like there's so much more of the world to see. It's like almost need like a bucket list.
But it's kind of funny because when we talk about taking another vacation right now, it's Disneyland Paris that we talk about the most. Which is kind of crazy to think, okay, let's go on vacation, not to do anything with Disney. Oh, how about Disneyland Paris?
Paris?
We've never been there. That'd be great to go see it.
I know, maybe we got problems or something. It's funny because we were talking the other day when our 20th anniversary rolls around. I'm like, we should take a trip. And I'm sitting there.
Disneyland Paris.
Right. And I'm just like, I don't know where I would go. I think I'm ruined because I'm so used to just being Disney-fied about everything. And I would like to go to Disneyland Paris.
Right. Okay, then I'm going to issue you a challenge right now, and I'm going to issue myself the challenge.
Oh, boy.
So for next week, one of our topics is going to be where we want a vacation.
That's not Disney.
That's not Disney for our 20th anniversary.
Okay. Now, mind you, we still have a couple of years before our 20th, so we have some time to think about this and maybe save eventually.
Well, if it's going to be someplace like Disneyland Paris, or let's say we decide to go, we could go to Aulani. That's kind of Disney in Hawaii. I mean,
we haven't been to that Disney destination.
But what I'm saying, though, is we have roughly 2.5 years, maybe almost, it's under 3 years till our 20th.
Yes.
Because this year is already...
My God,
over
17.
half over, yeah. So in 27, it'll be our 20 years. December's 27.
That's right. Sorry.
So so like 2.5 years.
All that math hurts.
No, it's 3 years. It's 3 years and like 3 months. So we have actually a lot of time, but we're gonna have to save.
Yes, we're gonna have to figure something out. And I don't know. I'm so ruined because like. I don't know where to go that doesn't involve Disney, and like Paris and like you said, Aulani. I'm not willing to take the leap to go to Tokyo or anything like that at this point.
No.
But or a cruise or something that's, I don't know how to deprogram myself.
For non-Disney.
Yeah.
It was hard on the Princess Cruise when we did that back in February. Because
we're so out of like what's going on? There's no Mickey Mouse.
Well, and the ship was geared towards a much older
crowd
than we're used to, so a lot of the stuff we'd even want to do, we couldn't do on that ship.
No, I mean, if you want a very low-key vacation.
And it was great. I mean, honestly, I would love the Princess Cruise. I would do another one. If they messaged us and say, hey, would you guys come and review this cruise? Sure.
Absolutely.
Because it was interesting to see a different cruise line outside of Disney.
It is. And, it's important, too, especially, like, for us to broaden our horizons because, we're trying to not cover just Disney. We're trying to do other things. But yeah, I just feel so like I don't know how to not plan a Disney vacation.
And there's lots of things to do, especially in the States alone. I mean, there's all kinds of things to go see and do. I mean, I've always wanted to go to Washington, D.C. because I've always wanted to see the Smithsonian and all that stuff, and I've never seen it. So I think that would be fun to go.
I wanted to see the Grand Canyon, and I don't really know why. I'd like to spend like time in Vegas just to check it out.
And that's another one. And if for those who may not know, I lived in Vegas. My dad lived in Vegas from the time I was 10 years old until he passed in 2008. So now I guess I would kind of like to go back to Vegas to see. As a kid, I went out there and I couldn't do a lot of stuff because I wasn't old enough.
Right.
So now it would be interesting to go back there and see, because I know the city's changed. We drove through there on the way back from D23 in 17.
Right.
And I didn't recognize the city, honestly. I mean, I recognized a lot of the casinos and stuff, but I didn't recognize like how much commercialized the restaurants
and how much has changed. I mean, they have that big sphere now, that big dome thingy.
That's right. I'd like to see that. That'd be cool. So maybe we could do a because I did see the Grand Canyon when I had lived out there. When driving back to Michigan, we drove through the Grand Canyon, so I got to see it that way. But it's only a couple hour drive to the Grand Canyon from Vegas.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I know there's so much more to see, and I really like a good beach vacation. I know you get bored, but I mean, give me a frozen drink and some, music and a beach, and I am happy.
I could do the beach vacation. I would just like to do a different beach. We always go to the same beaches here, and I would like to go to a nicer beach, like ones in like Hawaii.
Maybe Hawaii would be a good option.
Would you fly there?
With some medication.
I mean, because you don't really have another choice but to get there.
I'm aware.
Or we take a boat, and however long it takes a boat to get there. I think it'd be fun to do an Alaskan vacation also. Like
I
the
don't
cruise.
really like being cold.
But the cruise one, I think, would be fun to see it all from the cruise ship. And
yeah.
I don't know, maybe someday, but there's lots of options. So, but we are still recovering from this last trip because it was a work trip. And once you get into work mode, and most people can probably relate to this, when you're in work mode, it doesn't matter how you feel. You don't really pay attention if you don't feel good or anything like that. You're just trying to get your work done. But as soon as the work is done, it all catches up with you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what happened with us.
I mean, and it's weird because like as far as us not having tons to talk about this week is because Disney has not dropped a lot of news this week because they dropped it all last week with all the D23 announcements.
Yeah, a lot of their posts have come out this week. The top 8 things from D23 to take home. The top merchandise is sold at D23, and it's like, okay, that's not really interesting to the people. It's just, that means you have nothing else to put out, so you're just putting out.
Yeah, they have not put out like a ton of information. So we, it's good and bad because it kind of gives us time to recoup a little bit because, we run a clothing business as well. Or we have our podcast. We have this website. I have my podcast plus the contributions for Fox. It's a whole lot, and some days it feels overwhelming.
And plus, I'm always trying to think of new stuff to add to our plate.
I'm aware.
Well, you always got to stay ahead of the curve, and we always
do, especially these days.
Yeah, so I'm always trying to come up with that next idea that we're going to run with, and I've got some few, so you might see that in the months to come.
Oh boy.
But the one thing we did do this past week is on a few months ago, we had got an email that Universal was going to be doing a Passholder Appreciation Night.
Mm-hmm.
And we were fortunate enough to get passes that would allow us to go to this Passholder event night. So we had put in to go. You could either pick on this past Friday or this past Saturday. We had no idea what to expect with it. Michele had checked with a group of our friends who were also Universal Pass holders just to find out who was planning to go, what night they were going, so we could all kind of put in for the same night, so we could be there to kind of hang out with one another and such. And so that was on Friday night. We did that at Universal. I love Universal Parks. There's no shame in my game. I know Disney is what most of you are listening to us for, but I love Universal and the whole setup over there and some of the attractions and such. So I was really excited that we got to do something like this over there.
And the fact that they so a few years ago, Bob Chapek came out and said he really didn't give a crap about pass holders. It was about the vacationers.
Was that the exact way he put it? I don't really give a crap.
He didn't say don't give a crap, but he basically said that was not his priority. It was pass holders.
Yeah, Walt Disney World does not.
Yeah, and a lot of Walt Disney World pass holders took offense to that and kind of felt like tossed aside because it's us pass holders that pay the monthly fee, that go to the parks, that buy food, that buy merchandise on a regular basis. It's not just once a year or whatever. So, in my opinion, I think that this was an opportunity for Universal to say, well, we love our pass holders because they've been doing a lot for their annual pass holders over there.
Ever since Chapek made that, they've done stuff for their pass holders over there.
Yeah, and if you watch Universal's like social media, they make jokes and are a little snarky and stuff. So it's really cool and appreciated that they actually care and they do stuff for their pass holders. So I definitely wanted to go. And it was what they do is all the regular guests are out by 7.
Right.
And the park's open till 11. And basically you get to, obviously it's just the annual pass holders in the park.
Right.
So there's shorter wait times. You don't have to wait for food, for rides. They had even though we missed half of it, they had cupcakes and stuff that we didn't get.
Yeah, they had a lot of special food offerings. So one of their big things during HHN is pizza fries. Everybody loves these pizza fries they make. And they were serving those the one night for pass holders at the one restaurant they were going to.
There was a long line for those. It was at the Italian place over there. It was a long line.
Long line. So people really wanted that. And then they had some other different restaurants had a specialty that was just for pass holder night. The only time you could get that was that night. So.
And they had pop-up bars throughout the park. It just was really cool. And then they still did they have as of the summer, a new evening show that has it's weird because the it's on their water in the park, and the technology looks very similar to World of Color out at Disney California Adventure.
Right. With drones.
Yeah, but it has drones too. So it's actually a really nice show.
It was a long show. It was like 20 minutes.
It felt long because they go through different properties. Like they had Ghostbusters and they had Jaws and Shrek and all that stuff. Yeah. And same thing. So we finally got to watch their parade because it was at 6:00.
Right.
And we hadn't seen it. And sorry, I hit myself with the microphone. Ow, man.
They wouldn't have known had you not admitted it.
I'm very transparent. So we actually got to see their parade, and
it was cool.
So I know some people say that like some of the other parks have like sucky parades. They're not as good as Disney, and a couple of the floats, I was like, that's really cool. I thought the Ghostbusters float.
Yes.
It was huge. It had the marshmallow guy. It had
Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and then you had the demonic woman from the first Ghostbusters movie.
Yes.
And then
Zool.
And then you had the 4 Ghostbusters, and they kind of, in a way, kind of look like the people they were playing, and that's why I noticed a lot of the actors in that who were portraying other characters.
Some really looked.
Some really looked.
You know, the one that was most spot on was the Jaws float.
Quint, yep.
And the guy who got eaten by the shark in the movie.
Yeah, the boat captain.
Yes.
Who tells the story about being in the Navy and all that other stuff. That guy.
So that guy was up at the top of the float, and he nailed it.
He really did.
So not to say anything negative, but I'm gonna. So he was really good, but like over on the Back to the Future float, like Doc Brown's wig was atrocious, and the guy who was supposed to be Marty McFly, it didn't fly.
No, and that was the float I was most excited.
I know
about.
he loves Back to the Future.
I love Back to the Future. The float itself was cool. You saw the time coordinates, and you saw the Twin Parks Mall sign with the time on it of like when he went and all that stuff. So there was a lot of cool little nods, Easter eggs all over the float. But yeah, the guy who played Doc and Marty just, and I get it.
Get a better wig.
Yeah. The guy who played Doc in California when we met him a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Spot on.
See, and that's another thing with Universal. So not to compare to Disney, because I think that Universal is a great park. But I will say one thing that they are not as good as Disney is their character interaction. Like a lot of their characters look like they just went to Spirit Halloween and got something out of the bag. Disney really goes all out with intricate detail when it comes to their characters to be as spot on as possible.
Right, they do.
And like for you, the first time we saw like in the Marvel area at Universal and like the superheroes came out, we all just looked at each other like, what?
I know, because I was kind of excited, of course, to see the character and stuff, and then I was like, oh. And I saw Wolverine, and he was like 4'2", and I'm like, yeah, that's not.
Yeah, it was not good. It wasn't good.
And I'm not saying anything against the actors that are portraying it. I know
they need better costumes.
They only deal with what they're given, and sometimes you see a great costume on a character, and you're like, okay, they did that one good, but then you see some of them, and it's like, wow, they kind of phoned that one in. The
only good character I've seen that they've nailed, probably other than the dude on the float, is Beetlejuice walking around. They always have a good Beetlejuice actor. He's got the voice down and everything.
He does the mannerisms, everything. He is Beetlejuice, so he's probably gonna be getting a lot of work here with the new film.
I'm guessing so.
Yeah, but they But Universal, I do. There's just something about the parks I just like it. I know a lot of people still view it as the dark side.
It's really not.
It's not.
And then back to that Passholder night. Mm-hmm. It was very nice to walk around and not have a crowd and just to I don't know. I've said it a million times. The vibe over there is different.
It is more laid back, more
laid back, more fun. Definitely not so uptight.
No, not at all.
And with the new park coming next year, and which one thing was really exciting about I thought it was because I'm easily amused. Exciting about being there the other night is seeing all the props and areas going up for Halloween Horror Nights.
I love
so they have like a Blumhouse area because the sign was up, so you can see where that scare zone is going to be. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't see where the houses are, but you can see props coming up for the scare zones, and that was kind of cool.
Yeah, so if you've never been to Universal for HHN, most of the houses are backstage.
Yes.
They're not so you'll be walking down, and all of a sudden you realize you're backstage on their property, walking and going to different warehouses or whatever that they built the house into.
Right. Yeah, they don't. like for instance, last year the queue for Chucky's haunted house was in the Fast and the Furious building.
Yep.
So you can't. It's not all like right out to where you can see it, but the scare zones and the props and stuff, that's all through the park.
That's awesome.
And it was kind of exciting because I'm still scared of all that, but it's cool to see. I'm so weird because like I'm scared of it, but I want to see it.
Yeah, it's this year's gonna be a good one too, and we're gonna talk about it a little bit later about why I'm kind of excited about it.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to jump the gun.
That's okay, but yeah, it was really cool to see the props starting to go up and the different scare zones starting to come together. So you know where things are gonna be because we report on it and they'll announce this house or they'll announce this scare zone, but we have no idea where it's gonna be. So it was kind of fun to see where the stuff's gonna start going.
Yeah, you can't really predict where it's going to be, but it's nice. And since we moved here, we've always when we've gone to Universal in the fall, see all the props and stuff, and we hadn't been to HHN,
right?
So it was just kind of creepy for me. So and they have the Horror Nights sign up when you walk in, the big sign that's like the iconic thing when you're walking in, and the fog and the whole thing.
Right.
So that's up. And then Halloween, Disney's got Halloween going on already, and the hot, sweaty Halloween parties are going on over there. It's just so strange because it's so hot here, and
it is.
We've been here 10 years, and it's still hard to wrap around the idea that that high heat and Halloween go together. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, you feel bad for the kids in the costumes because sometimes those costumes are you can see the kids sweating. I mean, it's so bad because it's so warm out there sometimes. I remember the one year we went, Aiden dressed as Captain America.
I was just going to say that.
And he had the costume that had like the fake muscles and all that stuff. And like an hour into it, he's like, I can't do this. I'm sweating too.
He was little, and he looks so darn cute, of course. And he had his Captain America with the fake muscles. And we were at the park for about an hour, and I loosened up the back. And then he looked at me and he's like, "Mama, I'm hot." So
that was warm.
I had a Halloween T-shirt on him,
mm-hmm.
so I just let him. I just take the costume off. But
matter.
It's too hot, and he was thinking like Halloween time costumes. Like he was still on Michigan mode, and that's not how it is.
In Michigan, you're used to putting a winter coat over your costume, so it's kind of different down here when you're not wanting to wear much underneath that costume because it's so hot.
No, and it's funny because when you're a kid, and it wasn't always super cold on Halloween, but when it was, you didn't want to wear a coat because it covered your costume.
Yeah.
And then down here, it's almost too hot to wear the costume.
You need to pick a costume that's shorts and short sleeves and nothing else because it's too hot to wear a full costume. We did, a couple years ago, me and you did the Tangled.
We did, and we were warm, but it was fun.
We were warm, but it was a lot of fun. Sean got some good pictures for us, and he met us there and did that. So that was
fun. I mean, that was fun. And so I guess I can understand. I mean, like wearing the Tangled dress and with the braid and all that, and the little girls wanting to take pictures with me.
I know as we were
like,
walking up. We were walking up and people were like, "Can we get a picture with you guys?" The kids were excited to get pictures with Flynn and Rapunzel.
So sweet. And it's like, okay, so that was kind of fun. I did feel a bit princessy.
Just a bit.
Just okay, a little bit, a lot of bit. I don't know.
So, but Universal Passholder. Now let's get back to there and kind of close that subject. So, I thought it was a great time. I would like to go and be able to do more things with it because there's a lot to do, and we kind of wasted time.
We did waste time sitting around and stuff, but I think I put in our Facebook group when I shared the post about the Passholder night was that I wish Disney would do something like this. Now I know they used to have like Passholder. They had one at Typhoon Lagoon a couple of years before COVID.
Yeah.
And like I think that it would speak volumes.
It might fix the harm that it caused by Chapek saying he didn't care about pass holders because as soon as he did that, Universal said, okay, well, we're going to tell you how much we care about our pass holders. And they have since then. And they do a lot more for their pass holders there all the time. They have special magnets for their pass holders. They have like lounges. They have all kinds of stuff for the pass holders. Or then they
special treats for pass holders, special merch for pass holders. Yes. And it's all the time.
It's all the time. Not just because of not because of a new event or something.
Right. It's not just Halloween or Christmas. They have this stuff going all the time.
Yeah.
And I think Disney could take a cue from them. As far as like maybe,
and Universal with this media night or appreciation night, they really didn't give us anything. They gave us a magnet that was a special one for the party that night, But it's not like they gave us free snacks. They didn't give us free drinks. They didn't give us anything.
Just basically gave us the run of the park.
You get the park for 4 hours without any regular day guests in there. And I think that's all Disney would have to do also.
But they probably charge us like an after hours party.
They would charge us.
Passholder party, like $150 a person.
But you get a free ice cream bar.
See, I just
and some popcorn.
It would be nice. Not saying that it would happen, but it would be nice if Disney did something for their pass holders as well. But that remains to be seen. Yes. But thank you, Universal, because they do a great job.
You do. And they have so much stuff always going on over there. So I do really like Universal. And if you haven't been there in many, many years, I suggest you give it another try because you might enjoy it.
Give it a try. It's not what it used to be. It's so much better.
Exactly. So a couple of things we just wanted to talk about before we get on the news sections is we have some media event type things coming up. So you have one coming up this Thursday.
Yeah, I need to still get all the details, but it's at the Edison at Disney Springs. It's a charity event, and it's a bartender competition, and I was asked to be a special judge, like a guest judge. And
I don't know if that's an insult or if it's a good thing. Hey, we want you to come judge our drinks.
Why?
What are you saying?
I don't know. I think it's because of my personality. Because when I was talking to the PR lady, she's like, "I think you'd be fun and perfect for this." I'm like, "Oh, good." So it's about technique. It's about presentation. It's about taste. There's different categories, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, and you could actually pay to go to the event. I can't remember. It was kind of expensive.
It was like $80-some. So you can still go to it. And the money goes to charity. But I do believe you get food and stuff with that.
So that's pretty good. So I'm going to go. I don't drink, but I'll be there. I'll eat all the food. I'll eat my share in food. There's no worries about that.
Okay, well.
And Chuck's going to be there, so I'll be hanging out with Chuck that night because Chuck's coming out to check it out, too.
Yeah, because Chuck's always supportive. He will be there.
Exactly. So another thing I want to talk about, and I kind of alluded to it when Michele was just talking about HHN, we actually did get invited to the HHN Media Night for Universal.
We did.
This is our first time being invited to that on Media Night.
Yeah, we got to go last year, but it wasn't Media Night. They gave us passes for the next night.
Right. So August 30th, I will be at Universal. I'm still waiting for all the details of exactly what that entails, but from what I've known in past years is you get to film in the houses as media, get front of line, so I get to hit every house, every scare zone. I'll be able to see everything that one evening to check it all out. So I know our friend RJ is supposed to be down for that weekend also. So
you'll see people there.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to hang out with some of the people I know. And
you will, and I'm not going, so you're going to have to mingle.
Yeah, I'll mingle. I guess it's good you're not going to the media, though, because you would have to go into every house, and I know some of the houses scare you.
I don't know if I'm mentally prepared for that. I will go with groups of people, but if I have to go in there and be in work mode and film, I don't know if I could do it. I mean, maybe so. Sometimes when I cover events, I do flip the switch and go into work mode. Like when I've had to interview celebrities and things, you can't freak out because it's your job.
Right.
I don't know. It's 50-50. I don't know if I could do it or not. I mean, I would think I could, but I don't know about that.
Well, and the one thing about the HHN, and a lot of people agree with me, that when you're filming it, the scare actors, they want to make the camera look great. They're not trying to scare the person behind the camera. They're trying to scare the viewers.
But you're holding the camera, and that is a problem for me.
But they're not getting in your face. They're getting in the camera's eyesight. So it's not like they're not trying to scare you particularly. And that's what I've done when we've gone there and walked through Scare Zone and stuff. If I'm filming it, they seem to always appeal to that camera. It doesn't bother me for some reason. I do get jumpy a little bit if they come at me, but when I'm filming it and they go right for the camera, it always works better. So I know that
as long as there's not a chainsaw.
Oh, there'll be chainsaws.
I hate that.
There's probably a chainsaw house.
No, actually, out at Universal Hollywood, they have some sort of chainsaw house, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and there is no way in hell I would have the biggest panic meltdown. I couldn't do it, and I wouldn't do it. See, I can feel my heart starting to race just thinking about it.
I would love to do Universal's Hollywood. HHN.
Theirs always seems so much scarier.
So much scarier, and I don't know if it's because the type of actors they have out there, but they have professional makeup people who come and do all the makeup and the costuming and all that stuff. I mean, they have it here also, but out there, that's the city where they do it all.
It just seems like they up the scare factor even more. No, it is scary here. It is. It's definitely scary here, but it seems like just a notch up of scary for out there. So I don't know if I could do it.
I'd like to try it. I'd like to be given that option. Maybe I'll have to take Sean and go.
Yeah, because I don't think I could. I don't know if I could do it. But then again, years ago I didn't think I would go to HHN at all, and I went twice last year.
Yep, and that's your third time you've been. So.
Yeah, so I mean, it is a little bit of progress. I still don't love it. I'm scared of that stuff.
It's still funny watching them with the chainsaws, though. Our friend Ashton last year got you kind of close to the chainsaw people.
It looked like he was going to cut my legs off. I don't like that. And if I want to walk on the sidewalk, I'm going to walk on the sidewalk to stay away from these people.
That's right. And they're going to walk right along the street with you until you get off that sidewalk.
They don't go up on the curb.
No, they won't go up on the
sidewalk. So, I can watch everything that's going on.
Yeah.
But I don't have to be in the thick of it.
That's true.
So I'd rather watch other people get scared.
Well, there is another media event that maybe you want to go to then. Because I also got invited to the Busch Gardens Howl-O-Scream media event on September 4th. It's a Wednesday. If you want to go with me, you can, because we have 2 passes for that one.
I don't know about that. I just don't know.
If it's anything like SeaWorld's was, it wasn't that scary.
I don't know. I don't like going to haunted houses, and I just don't. I don't know. I like HHN for whatever reason, but when we went to Howl-O-Scream a few years ago at SeaWorld, I didn't love it.
Well, and that's what I've heard, is that SeaWorld and Busch Gardens Howl-O-Screams are completely different. Howl-O-Scream and Busch Gardens has been going on for a number of years now, where SeaWorld, they're only this is either year 3 or 4 that's coming up for them, so they're still learning how to do everything. The one at Busch Gardens, though, everybody's told me is really good. So that's the one I want to go to this year and check it out. So you may have to go with me.
Well, maybe.
I mean, you don't have to go in all the houses, but
I don't want to.
But you might want to go into some of the houses, scare zones. Me and Sean had a good time at the SeaWorld one last year. We just kind of walked around and laughed at things.
Yeah, well, you guys maybe can, have a repeat of that night, because I don't know.
Well, I'm guessing the SeaWorld one will be the same night as the Busch Gardens one again, like it was last year.
Yeah, nobody checks with each other.
They don't check with each other. So, but that's Adventures in Florida Living. So why don't we get moving on to Disney news and cover stuff. And you wanted to talk about, as you put it, the Hullaballoo, about all the changes coming to Walt Disney World.
Yes. Yeah, so I think we talked about it a little bit last week, how when I got back, I was able to read about what people were saying. Like, we put out the news when we were there, the news about Tom Sawyer Island and everything. So I didn't get a chance to really see what everybody else was saying. So here it is a week later almost. And it's still, people are still going on.
Well, I saw the big thing this last week is everybody's freaking out thinking that the Muppets area is going to be leaving Hollywood Studios. And Disney has not made that announcement.
No, you know what makes me mad? I'm going to tell you what makes me mad.
A lot of stuff.
A lot of things. But in particular, I saw yesterday, okay, so everybody's a blogger these days, and these garbage blogs put out stuff like it's official. He's laughing, but I'm speaking truth. And
I know you are.
Official, Muppets going away for monsters. Official. No, it's not. And it makes me mad when you guys, when you're reading online, please pay attention to
the source,
because everybody just wants clicks. They just want hits. They just want to be break these news stories, and they're not even true. So I can tell you right now, Disney has not announced they're doing anything with Muppets. If it's down the road and they announce it, okay, fine. But as of today, they have not said that. No.
And we've actually talked a lot about that recently, because if you missed it last week, we were on our friend Jeremy and Rhonda's show on Thursday night, and we talked about that. And in my opinion, I don't think Monsters fits in the Muppet area, because you would be putting it between Star Tours and Galaxy's Edge, and I think eventually the goal of Disney is to make Star Wars spread that whole area out.
It doesn't have any flow to it. It makes more sense to put it where the Lightning McQueen stuff is back there. Get rid of the launch bay.
Yep.
Because it would be like Monsters flowing over into Toy Story Land, which makes sense.
It does.
But again, full honesty, I did not expect them to pull out Rivers of America.
No.
For Cars Land.
No.
I did not, and nobody else did either. That's why there was so much uproar last week.
Right, and there's a lot of uproar about that. As I've said, I don't have a problem with it, because if people were riding it and going to that stuff on a regular, then they wouldn't be taking it out because it was well used. But it wasn't used as much as people had hoped it was. and it needed to go away because that's a lot of space you're losing that could be
I
used
think
for
it's just because of the fact that people don't like change, and some people, like we talked about this, some people feel that the parks are changing too much as far as like keeping some of the old-fashioned things. But I don't know. And so I'm still watching people fight about it.
Right.
And I'm going to say something controversial.
You?
Yeah, I'm going to.
Oh, boy.
And nobody, don't, pitchforks.
This might be our last show, and
am
am I going to lose any of my HHN media stuff?
No. And now, mind you, this is the opinion of me, okay? I don't understand these people, like, on Twitter that are, we're going to sign a petition. If we fight the powers that be, that Disney's going to change their mind. That annoys me because of the fact that it's not going to make a difference.
Nope.
And I just feel like, okay, people are still mad about Tiana's, and they've announced how long ago that Splash Mountain was leaving, and people can't accept it.
Right.
And the sooner that they accept that these changes are coming, the better, because it's going to happen whether you like it or not. And I've never seen a big corporation, especially Disney, be like, oh, well, we got 20,000 signatures on this petition, so I guess we can't take out Tom Sawyer Island. That's not going to happen.
Well, my question is, and people are always say, oh, we're going to petition, we're going to get this off. Have you ever seen a petition change anything that wasn't politically done by our government? No private company has ever had a petition that made them change their way of doing something. Most of the time when you sign a petition, it's because you don't like what the government's doing, because that's why all the petitions are housed on the government websites.
Or like even in the city when you want this bill to pass or whatever. Or like, I don't even know if it's called that anymore, but when I was growing up, the millage, like the teachers union.
Yes, it's all, you always do I need 30,000 signatures to get this on the vote for the
or
city
does
council.
the schools want a new gym?
Right.
Yeah, that's different.
But Disney is a private traded company. Or it's a private company, but they are publicly traded on the stock market. Now, the stock market, the people there could vote, but they're stockholders who have an interest in the thing, but they also have a board of directors who makes all the final decisions. So if Disney says, we're doing this, it isn't something they just decided overnight to say, you know what, let's rip that out and then think about it. There's a reason.
They've been planning this
for years.
Do I love the decisions Disney makes all the time? Absolutely not.
No.
But I also know that getting myself all in a tizzy over something that I can't change. And I'm that Disney person. I love old-fashioned Disney. I don't like changes. But me getting upset about it isn't going to make a difference.
No, and if Disney, you know what? Disney's been around for a long time, and they make a lot of money. And people need to realize you trust the board of directors, you trust the powers that be with their decisions. And if they make enough bad decisions, they're going to be changed. The people in charge, Bob Chapek, was pushed right out because his decisions weren't right, and Iger stepped back in. Now, has Iger done everything since he came back that we'd like? Not really yet. He said he was going to fix a lot of Chapek's things, and he hasn't done it yet.
No.
But I think they're grooming Josh to take over that spot eventually. I think that they put a lot of research into this. I know somebody said some of the concept art for something, they said the dates on it were 2020. So a lot of this stuff has been in the works for years.
Just because they don't talk about it doesn't mean it's not happening behind the scenes. And Disney usually will, keep their cards hidden until...
Because they don't want the rumors to start flying.
No, and that's basically what D23 is for every other year, is to tell you, to show their cards as to what is coming. Granted, Splash Mountain closure was announced around COVID time, so it wasn't D23.
No.
They just
and they skipped D23 that year.
Yes,
that first year. But Destination D was still another place where they make announcements. Not as big of announcements.
Not as big. They really save it for Anaheim.
Right.
But I don't know. I just really wish, and I think that as much as I hate change and as much as I understand the frustration, I just feel like people are spinning their tires in the mud.
They will be in Cars Land.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be what it's going to be. And I think the sooner that people just... And you know what? Here's the thing. If you don't like what they turn Magic Kingdom into.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Epcot.
Yeah.
Go to the studios. They're not hurting. Look at all the changes that they have made that people don't agree with, or the price hikes, Lightning Lane.
People still pay for
all
it,
that crap, and people still go. The parks are still loaded.
The only way, a petition is not going to get Disney to change their mind. But if they start to lose money at their gate, if they start to lose money in hotels, and if they start to lose money in the parks, that will get them to change their mind on stuff. But if people, I'm not going to go ride this, but you're still going in the park to ride 70 other rides, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Your anger and your stomping your feet is not going to get them to change the thing that you're stomping your feet the most about. So sometimes it's just easier to accept change. And we just move on with it and deal with it and go forward. I know one thing you had mentioned last week about the aesthetics of, you didn't know how you'd feel about having the Cars land right next to the mansion and all the noise from the Cars land. And the one thing I thought about since then is Disney is very good about keeping sounds out of certain areas.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how they keep that separation.
Well, it would be separating the speakers and stuff. The rides don't actually make the noise. It's the speaker that makes the noise louder to get it up there. So Disney knows how to hide that stuff, and they've done it for years with everything in the park. You walk from one land to the next, you never hear the music in that land until you're in that land.
No.
Or the parade. You don't hear about that parade till it's entered your section. So they're very good at keeping the noise level, no matter where it's at. They know how to keep it down. They'll be able to soundproof certain areas that you won't even see it because it's not going to be a wall.
So in addition, this just made me think of something. In addition to the Muppet rumors, I've also seen, I read before I go to bed and I research and see what people are talking about. So another thing that people are saying is I don't believe this at all. I'm gonna say it right now, and if I'm wrong, I will apologize. Oh, they're going to get rid of all of Liberty Square.
No.
They can't. Would the mansion be a freestanding entity of its own? I mean, because you go into Fantasyland where they have all, you walk under that bridge and it's, the Punzi bathrooms and Peter Pan and Small World. Now, if they took out Liberty Square, the mansion would be in no man's land by itself with no theming whatsoever.
But then you would also lose Hall of Presidents.
Yeah.
You lose Liberty Tree restaurant. You lose the Christmas store.
Yep.
You lose Diamond Horseshoe is considered Frontierland, I believe. The restaurant that's right there across from the mansion, I can't think of the name of it right now.
Oh, Harbor House,
and then Memento Mori. So that is, Liberty Square is the smallest land. It is very small land. But I think it has too much meaning. You have the tree over there with the 13 colony representation. You have the Liberty Bell right there.
Yeah.
I think them doing that would cause such an uproar because that was one of Walt's original lands. He wanted the parks to do something with the U.S.'s history, and I think that's the only land that really documents our history. Main Street does, but not like Liberty Square does.
Right, and I think that anything that got too close to touching the mansion, or that's like a sacred.
The mansion will never have to worry about being.
They can't. Is if they did, people. You talk about a protest. I can't imagine what would happen if they said they were changing the mansion or closing it.
I would cancel our passes.
Yeah, I would be done.
I would. Because you know what? Not that we ride rides every time we go to Disney, because sometimes we just walk around and do whatever. But the mansion is the one ride that we do the most.
Right.
The one we look forward to.
And we know the history of it. We know, the building of it. Like we're just really, it's a fandom for us. But it is for a lot of people, because even though, if you think about it, even though they build like the thrill rides like Tron and Cosmic Rewind and different things like that, there are people that you still ask them what's your favorite ride, and they'll say things like Mansion.
Yep, Mansion and Pirates are probably the two biggest ones.
Because it's nostalgia. It's like stuff that Walt talked about.
Yep.
And
they're not quick rides.
No.
So like Seven Dwarfs is less than 2 minute ride.
So fast.
That you wait an hour to get on, and you're in and out in 2 minutes.
That's why we don't really wait for it, because it's over in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, it's not worth the wait. But the Mansion, we'll wait 45 minutes because it's a 10-minute ride. And that's if you don't stop at all.
And when it stops, we don't mind because it's air conditioned in there. You can get some good pics and video.
I was going to say, when it stops in some good areas, you can get some really... When you stop in the graveyard scene or you stop looking at the ballroom scene, you can get some really good photos.
It is. And I just, no matter how many times I go on it, I'm not bored with it.
Never been bored with it one time. So.
And the same thing with Pirates. I love Pirates. I love the one out in Disneyland better.
Yes.
But there's certain things that I feel like that won't be messed with. But then again,
you never know.
You never know, because there's a lot of announcements and such that they have made over the years that I was surprised at.
Yeah, I mean, I think Pirates and I think Mansion are safe as of today. But if it changes over the years and people don't go on these things anymore, I mean, who would ever thought Country Bears would have a change made to that, or Splash Mountain would have had a change made to that? It was because of things happened that they just realized we had to make a change.
I think Tomorrowland could use a little sprucing up.
Well, Tomorrowland is yesterday, because it is not Tomorrowland at all.
It's really not.
It's just like going to Epcot and going to Future World. Where's Future World?
Where's Future?
It doesn't really exist.
No.
It's what it was when it opened in 82 or 70.
So see, and sometimes you do have to evolve with the times, because stuff that was like big technology years ago is not anymore, and you have to evolve.
You do.
But some things, like some classics, don't need to be messed with.
Right.
But again, we don't know what's going on. We have to trust that it's going to be okay. I'm excited about Monsters. I don't really care where they put it.
Me too.
I'm not going, because that coaster that's coming looks amazing.
Yep.
So no, you're not going to get a petition from me.
No.
Or a protest.
But I do think connecting it to Toy Story Land in some way makes the most sense. Let all the Pixar area be together.
It's too hodgepodgey right now, because you got, like, there is no reason. So the launch bay hasn't been used in forever.
Right.
So you got the launch bay over there that's kind of serves no purpose, and then Star Tours, and then Galaxy's Edge. Like, it should be condensed. Like, I don't think anybody is going to care if they close that launch bay building, because they don't use it anymore.
And I'm not saying they'll never move Muppets, because they could move it to another part. I just don't think Disney, with all the money they've invested into the Muppets, Jim Henson's franchise, and that's the only representation in the parks is the Muppets area, that they would just close it and be done with Muppets altogether, because there is a huge fandom that loves the Muppets. So even if they said, we're going to close the Muppets area, I think they would move it to another area, maybe move that to where the launch bay is. Who knows what they would do, but I just don't think it would ever just be gone.
Yeah, they got to move stuff around, I would say. And, I don't really go in the Muppets thing hardly ever, but we do like Pizza Rizzo. Their food is pretty good.
And they just redid all the seats in Muppet Vision 3D.
Yeah.
And I know a couple years ago they redid the screens. So if they were going to get rid of it, I don't think they'd be putting any money into it if they knew it was going to get ripped out.
But, as Italians say, what do we know?
Well, what do we know? That's not as easily as we say it. You say, what the heck do I know? But anyway. So, still lots of changes going on. Just when you read something online, just make sure you check your sources.
There's a lot of garbage and misinformation out there.
They just want you to click the article and read it, because that's how the blog gets paid. Is if you click on the article, now you've read it, now they're showing ads to you, and that's how they get paid from the advertising companies. So just keep that in mind, that those are clickbait ads a lot of times.
Don't believe everything you see.
Exactly. Other news that dropped this week is Disney dropped the Jollywood Nights merchandise, which was nice this year, that they're going to have more than just a shirt.
Yeah, they actually have a Spirit jersey and ears. Of course they do. Stuff that you would...
Probably a cupcake, too.
Stuff that you would expect from any other party at Disney.
Yes.
But yeah, it was nice to see they have more than just a T-shirt.
Right. And you had mentioned about that you didn't know why they were using the blue colors on everything. It seemed like more of a blue thing. I think it's just because they're trying to separate it from the Magic Kingdom's Halloween or Christmas stuff. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't look quite as Christmassy, but at least there's going to be merchandise.
Exactly. I know last year was that one shirt that we didn't buy.
Everybody stood out in the street in line to see this shirt, and we got up to it. We were like, I don't know. I wish that when they have stuff like that, they would put a picture of what the merchandise looks like.
Yeah, so you can.
Because why do you want to waste your time waiting for a merchandise, and then when you see it, it was like, oh, that's it.
Yeah, you walk away. So so that all came out. So if you haven't seen it, check out the site. We have a blog that has all the pictures that they put out there. Today also, Run Disney put out the 2025 Walt Disney World Marathon weekend medals for the different races. So if you do the 5K, the 10K, the whole marathon, half marathon, whole marathon, or the full goofy weekend, or whatever they call it, where you do all of them together and you get like a certain medal for all that stuff. All those images dropped on our site today. So we're not runners.
Nope.
I run for food, and that's about it.
I run if a murderer's chasing me, and that's about it.
And that's about it. So, but if you're interested in the medals, again, we have it all on the site. So go out there, check out the mainstreetmouse.com, and you can see all the pictures on that. A couple other things we want to talk about for other attractions in the area. Universal has debuted a new dining inclusive vacation package, where they're giving you up to $1,000 for dining while you're there. So it's kind of like when Disney used to do that with food.
Free dining, yeah.
Yeah, but they're actually giving you like a voucher for like up to, depending on where you stay and such, depends on how much the voucher is for, but it can be up to $1,000 for your food for the week.
Wow.
Which is kind of cool, because it's allowing you to go, so you can use that city walk, you can use it in the parks, you can use it anywhere you want to. It's your choice.
So. And it lets you decide like how you want to stretch that out. Do you want to blow it on an expensive dinner? Do you want to
right? You have
make it stretch?
You have a dollar value where Disney's like, okay, you have 6 sit downs, 6 walk ups, and 7 snacks. Well, Universal's saying, here you go. We're just going to give you this amount of money to use. However you choose to use it, that's on you. But if you want more information on that, you can reach out to our travel sponsor, MEI Mouse Fan Travel, and they'll be able to explain that probably more to you and get you some quotes on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing I wanted to mention, SeaWorld the other day put out their 2025 event lineup for all their festivals and all the stuff they plan to do for 2025. And it's pretty much, I think it was all the same events they've done in the past years. You have the Three Kings celebration, Seven Seas Food Festival, Guy Harvey Weekend. They do a lot. Bands, Brews, and Barbecue Festival. They have festivals going on there all the time.
All the time. You just don't hear about them.
No, but if you're into the festivals and doing that, they also have a lot of concerts that go with these festivals, and they get some pretty decent acts to come into SeaWorld actually for their concert series. It's usually one night though. It's not like where Disney does a 2 or 3 night performance. Yeah. But I know Chuck has done the festivals there a lot of times, and you buy like a lanyard with a card, and you buy like 15 samples, and you just go to the booth, and it's really cheap. I want to say it's like 60, 70, 80 bucks, whatever it is, for like 15 samples. And then you go to all this booth, and you get to try that much food for that price.
You get to eat a whole lot.
You get to eat a whole lot for that much. And if you spent at Disney, some of those booths cost $9, $10 for the sample. It could be the same there, but it's all included on that sample card. So you can try a lot of stuff for a good value. And I wish Disney would do something like that also when it comes to like food and wine and such.
Yeah, me too.
Which we have that coming up also pretty soon too, Food and Wine Media event.
Next Thursday, not this week, but next week.
We'll talk about that next Monday, and then obviously the Monday after we've done it. So.
Right.
But that was all I really had. Did you have any other news or anything you want to talk about before I ask you a question for the week?
No. I don't think so.
She is a fountain of information, folks.
Hey, I already sidebarred once, and I talked about the people complaining online. So I added.
Okay. So we can move on. So your question this week.
Oh boy.
And this kind of stems. You started to talk about it earlier, and I kind of glad you didn't go forward because I wanted to ask you this question.
Okay.
So you have been to HHN 3 times.
I have.
Since we moved here, you went to 1 year where you did Stranger Things, Beetlejuice House, and then you walked. No, not Stranger Things.
Beetlejuice.
Stranger Things, Ghostbusters, and then Universal Monsters.
Yes.
First year of that. Then last year you went twice.
Mm-hmm.
We did the Chucky house, and we did another house that first night.
Stranger Things, which is really good.
Which is really good. And then when we went back with other friends, we did like 2 or 3 other houses.
I don't even remember. It was trauma.
Yes, it was trauma. And you are scared to death of this event. You really are. You're scared of these houses. You're scared of the actors. You're scared of the chainsaws, as you've alluded to. Why do you keep going back, though? Why do you want? What makes you say, I am scared to death? I don't want to get scared. I don't want to get chased by a chainsaw. But why do you keep going back? Mind you, she has no idea the questions I'm going to ask her every week. So she hears it when you guys hear it.
Okay. Well, because I see everybody else having fun and enjoying it and getting the frequent fear pass, and they're going all season long, and it looks like so much fun, and I feel like I'm totally missing out because I'm a chicken, and like I
So it's that FOMO.
Kind of, and I want to be braver about things. I want to be able to go and not like want to cry in a corner. It's just one of those things that, here you go. So because I've been scared my whole life, that for me, it's almost about overcoming a fear.
Okay.
Because I'm interested. I like watching scary movies. I like seeing everybody's footage on there. I like all that stuff. But I'm scared. So me going twice last year was huge.
It was huge.
And it's more safety in numbers. I think when we went with a group of people, it was more fun because I felt a little bit,
they
better.
couldn't pinpoint you directly because there were so many people around you.
Right. And I think I want to enjoy it like everybody else does. I want to, be able to partake without giving myself an anxiety attack, and baby steps.
Baby steps. Okay. That's a good reason. I was just curious why, because you always want to do more, but you always say how scared you are of it all. Every year.
It's like it's time. It's time to, life is short, and I've been afraid of this stuff since I was 4 years old.
And the thing to remember about the houses, so I know it's a fear of where they're going to jump out at you.
It's a jump scare. That's
pretty easy though, because at HHN, if you walk into a room and you see a cast one of their employees standing there that's just dressed in regular team members dressed in plain clothes, you know there's a scare actor somewhere in that room.
Because it's cool.
Because they have to have somebody in there to protect
right
them.
there. They kind of tip it off for you.
They do. So keep that in mind. They're not going to follow you out of the house, although you almost did have to have Universal Monsters house the way they got you the last scare.
Oh my God, no. And that's what made me not go for a couple of years because I didn't want to because it's too much.
But that first year, I will say, so I've been 4 times because me and Andrew went one year that you didn't go. And I've seen you develop. So the first time you went to Ghostbusters. It wasn't scary. It was just walking through the movie, but it was a lot of there was things that make you jump a little bit, but nothing that scare you. It was like they would just come out of nowhere.
Not gore or anything. It was just startled.
Right. And then Stranger Things, it was again walking through the series. You see the kids and you see all the stuff, and it's fun to be. You're like in the movie.
But then they had the bad guy at the end and stuff like that. So it did get scarier as you went. Scary.
And then the Universal Monsters house.
Nope.
I thought you were never going to go back to HHN again.
And
I saw you go from, this is fun, and you were a little bit scared, but it was fun, to, oh my gosh, get me out of here, get me in the car and take me home because I'm scared to death right now.
Yeah.
The Universal house.
When I ran out of that house and I cried and nope, I was done.
But when you went last year, the first time we went for the media thing, you did great. You didn't cry. We saw our friend Tim on the way in and asked him what houses would be good for her to start off with, and he said Chucky or the Yeti house.
Which we never went in the Yeti.
We never went in the Yeti, but we did do the Chucky one. Kind of eased her in. He gave her tips, wear earplugs.
Yeah, so that's another thing which I didn't realize, that people say if you wear earplugs, it's not as scary.
Right.
And I don't know if it's because of the screaming, because of the whatever. I don't know. I might try that, or I would feel out of control not being able to hear. I don't know. But yeah, I think I've made progress.
Yes,
we'll see what happens this year. I really, really want to overcome that fear. I really, really do, because I think there's a lot of fun to be had.
Oh yeah. Life is short, and like Sean loves to go to Halloween Horror Nights, but he will admit to you he gets scared. He gets those jumps, and he likes it all, and it's fun.
I don't like that. I don't like that adrenaline rush. If somebody jumps out at me, I feel like my whole system's gonna shut down.
Just don't punch or kick them, and you're good.
No, I don't swing at anybody, but I feel like I get weak knees.
So I'll be honest. So last year at SeaWorld, when me and Sean went, we honestly laughed through most of the houses because it just wasn't scary at all. And I hope it's scarier this year than it was, because that was not scary. So that's why I think you could handle Howl-O-Scream.
Yeah, I don't know. See, because what other people don't think is scary. I don't care if somebody was in a Rapunzel dress. If they jump out at me, it's the same effect. I don't like to be jumped out at. But some of them
were just really bad scare actors. Some of them were. Some of them were good. Some of them were just, you could tell some of them really weren't into it. It was
I don't know. I mean, I'm trying. That's all I can say.
Well, I think we'll get you out there.
We'll see. To be continued.
We're going to get you in some more of these. So be on the lookout for Michelle's scared video. We're going to put a video camera on her. We're going to have a chest mount that where you'll see everything she sees. Maybe we could get like one of those ones that they used to do on MTV when they had that scary show.
No.
And the camera was like right in the face of the person who's getting scared.
No, you do not want to see me scared.
That would go viral. You know how much money we'd make on YouTube with that video?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I really don't want to embarrass myself.
Well, you can get a new purse if you do that.
What kind?
Depends how good the video is. The more fear. So that is it for this week's show. I'm going to go ahead and step off and let Michele go ahead and close us out with you. Oh, wait, I do have to mention our sponsors. Ooh, I almost stepped out too early. So I just wanted to mention, I already said them once, but MEI Mouse Fan Travel can handle all your vacation needs, whether you're traveling to Disney or want to take a Royal Caribbean cruise. They can help you guys out. Best part of their services is 100% free for you. Secondly, I wanted to mention, if you are coming to Central Florida and you need a stroller or a scooter, reach out to our friends at Kingdom Strollers. They have been our longest sponsor with the Main Street Mouse since day one almost. They've been around. Matt was so wonderful to always be with us all those years, and he believed in what we were doing, and we believe in what he did. He has he's not the owner anymore, but he still works with the company to help them. But their company is just top notch. They will take care of you in any needs you have. So you can reach out to them at kingofstrollers.com. I will have all this in the show notes. But now I'm going to step aside and let Michele close us out.
Okay, well, I didn't think we could fill in an hour, but apparently we did. hopefully next week we have more interesting topics for you. We appreciate you listening and supporting all the things that we do. Don't forget to follow us on social media. We are at the Main Street Mouse, like everywhere. Instagram, X, former Twitter, Facebook, of course. Just give us a follow everywhere. Don't forget to check out Lost Princess Apparel, too. So on that note, I wish you a wonderful, happy, magical, fantastic, amazing, awesome week ahead, and we will see you real soon.
Our trip around the Magic Kingdom is almost complete. I can't thank you enough for spending part of your day with me. And I hope you've enjoyed your journey as much as I've appreciated being a part of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please gather your belongings, watch your head and step as you exit, and take small children by the hand.
On behalf of our entire flight crew, thanks for soaring with us.
Now I will raise the safety bar, and a ghost will follow you home.
Some imagination, huh?